What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we are going to be doing something a little bit more on the entertainment side. We will be focusing on what is in the Pokebox. So many people have been asking me the question, what are your best Pokemon? What are the highest CP? What are your best shinies? What is your favorite Pokemon? Just so many questions like that. So I thought it would be a really cool opportunity to showcase what I've got in my Pokebox, but also extending out the invitation to different players in the community to collaborate so that we could take a look at their Pokebox, just so we can see the different diversity among people in the community. I think that would be a ton of fun. And as you saw on the thumbnail, we are going to be reviewing one of my favorite Pokemon and then talking about the story because it is absolutely a weird one. But anyways, I hope you do enjoy this content. If you do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So I figured the first thing we would do is take a look at my top Pokemon. Now, I'm definitely going to be in a different spot than most of the grinding YouTubers that you see. Living in a rural area has definitely provided its own struggle, so it's going to be kind of cool to see just how much it differs from a rural player versus someone who has access to a larger set of assets. But yeah, go ahead and check this out. So probably one of my favorite ones would have to be the 100% IV Mewtwo. When I ended up catching this, I was actually nervous catching this, and if you ever have a moment like that in the game, you know how exciting it can be. I did, however, end up seeing somebody in my community, unfortunately, end up watching a 100% run. That was absolutely awful, but I was able to catch that, so that's definitely one of my favorite ones, especially from the top 10, top 12 or so. But yeah, besides that, you will notice that I have two Luckies, and the reason for that is not because I just simply got lucky getting them. I actually used the method where you can have the older Pokemon and get a guaranteed lucky. A new player ended up coming back, and I just traded him an old Pokemon, so I ended up getting this over, and we just went back and forth, so he also got some lucky Mewtwo's. Yeah, that was definitely worth it. Saved a massive amount of Stardust, and they do have Shadow Ball on them, which I'm definitely excited about. Yeah, besides that, we've got Slacking. As we all know, a lot of people have actually chosen to transfer their Slackings because they don't want to see it in the top 12, the top 15 or whatever. I think it is pretty funny. I should probably power it up just to get it above 4,000 CP, but as we all know, unfortunately, Slacking is not that great of a Pokemon, mostly because of the move Yawn. Beyond that, we have a couple more Pokemon that kind of stand out. One of them being Tyranitar. I actually caught this a long time ago. I actually ended up hatching it from an egg. But yeah, I'm very excited about this. This is one of the more recent ones that I did power up to level 40. It is a Smackdown Stone Edge Tyranitar. So definitely excited about that. But beyond that, you also gotta have the Double Dark as well. So I do have a Double Dark moveset Tyranitar up to level 40, which I also hatched from an egg a very long time ago. But yeah, definitely excited about this. So I like having both of them available. Other than that, we have a Kyogre, but I only have it up to level 35, but it is still within my top 12, mostly because it does have a very large CP. Eventually, I do plan on powering one up. I do actually have a Lucky Kyogre that is a 91%. I may go ahead and power that up. It is unfortunately at level 20, level 21 right now, but yeah, I definitely try to take advantage of the lucky Pokemon if I can. But I think that this is a pretty cool look into what I have going on. There we go with the Metagross, but I've really stopped with the powering up, to be honest, for the most part, because I really want to focus on powering up lucky Pokemon just to get that massive Stardust discount. As many of you may have noticed if you looked at my Stardust count, it's not very high, so I definitely need to be frugal with it. So now that we have covered the top 12 Pokemon, let's go ahead and jump into the top shinies. As you will see on the screen, I don't exactly have all of them from Community Days, which is really cool. We've got quite a bit of diversity. We do have Tyranitar in there twice, but for the most part, a ton of diversity, something very exciting to talk about. So in at the number 1 spot, we've got the Kyogre at a 91% IV. Anytime you get a shiny Pokemon that is good, and it has high IVs as well, that's destined to be powered up. So I did power it up to level 31. And then we have Tyranitar. I did actually catch this in the wild, and I thought it was actually worth to power it up just a little bit because it does have a 15 in attack, and I was really lacking on my rock team, so I wanted to go ahead and power that one up just a little bit. Then we've got Metagross. Go ahead and check this out. Yes, it is like probably one of the lowest IVs out of all of these, but to be honest, I didn't put anything into it, so it's not a big deal to me. Up next is Moltres. Now, Moltres is kind of a weird one. As you will see, it is low in IVs, but it does qualify for the Ultra League, so I kind of kept it there on purpose. Just because it does have lower IVs, I didn't think it was going to be quite as useful, so I thought it would be cool to keep it just for PvP sake. Now, this one has to be one of the biggest trophies that I have. The fact that I ended up getting a shiny Gengar that was at 96% is absolutely insane. This happened during the, I guess, raid day for Gengar, so it does have Lick, and then I'm TM'd it over to Shadow Ball. Definitely excited about that. Once again, it also qualifies for the Ultra League. That's why I left it at level 31. But at some point, I might end up powering it up further. Then we have Mamoswine, which is definitely one that most people will know about since we did have it fairly recently with Community Day. And then surprisingly enough, to finish up the last three, I actually have a Jolteon that was level 32. I ended up catching it weather boosted in the wild, so no Stardust invested on this one, but it is fairly interesting that it did make it into the top 9. It does have Last Resort from the Community Day. And then, of course, we've got another Tyranitar, kind of the same concept. I wanted to get a double rock moveset, potentially trade it, something like that, and then we'll finish this up with, yet again, another Community Day Pokemon. So we do have Ampharos here. Definitely excited to see what's going to end up happening with this. Having Dragon Pulse, will we get the Mega Ampharos? We're just going to have to wait. But other than that, we have one more story to talk about, and that is one of my favorite Pokemon in my Pokebox. So the last and final Pokemon that I wanted to showcase to you is my glitched Ditto. So I did actually share a screenshot on Twitter talking about how I could actually look up the Pokemon using a plus Pidgey sign. And then also in the past, I've been able to search the evolve and it would show up. So it's showing I can evolve it. It's showing that it is a part of the Pidgey family. So some way, somehow, this Pokemon retained its past information of what it was hidden as a Pidgey, and it's been very strange because it changes all the time. For example, I'm gonna go ahead and show you now. If I go ahead and search a plus Pidgey right now, what's gonna happen is it doesn't show up. Yet a couple of days ago I was able to do it, so it's kind of dependent on whether or not I have a Pidgey or any of the Pidgey line, which is already kind of strange that it isn't consistent in that manner. But then you have a Pokemon like this where it is a Ditto that's supposed to only know Transform and Struggle, yet as you can see, I have the ability to add on a new attack. Should we do it on screen? Let's go ahead and see if we can add ourselves a new attack. Do you want to go ahead and teach Ditto this new attack? And nothing happens. I don't know, it's so strange, but it is definitely one of my favorite Pokemon. If people just kind of reach out and say, hey, what's your favorite Pokemon that you've caught in Pokemon Go? It's, for me, is always this Ditto. I have it powered up to level 40, and it's actually an 82%, so it's not necessarily bad. It should be a ton of fun to use, especially versus some Pokemon that are super effective against itself, like maybe a Gengar or some of the Dragon-type Pokemon that we've gone against. I definitely want to throw a Ditto in there occasionally just for fun, but some way, somehow, this Pokemon retained some information in the past based on its past Pokemon. Very strange. I was so curious as to whether or not I could somehow evolve it or, do something like that. But like I said beforehand, it had the new attack, but at some point it also had the evolve button. Now it's changing. I don't know what's going on with it, but you can bet I'm definitely going to keep this. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy this video. This is definitely a little bit different. I want to go ahead and end on the question of the day. What is the person that you would want to see what is in their Pokebox? Whether it is a YouTuber or just a hardcore grinder that's known in the community, definitely let me know and I'll go ahead and see if I can get them to jump on and film an episode. Let me know in the comments section below and I will see you next time. I wanted to extend a huge thank you to the supporters over at Patreon. You definitely make this possible and I 100% appreciate the support. If you are interested in supporting my channel on Patreon, definitely feel free to check out the link in the description.